Welcome to Cueless, the Snooker podcast. Back second week. Thank you to anyone that listened in the first week. We're back, as we said, every Monday. And since we've been away, the World Grand Prix has been and gone.
Yes.
Ben, did you watch much?
I watched bits and bobs, mainly highlights. I wasn't really able to watch many of the actual games. They were quite early.
Yeah, they were very early. I ended up watching quite a bit of it, so you're in luck. But
Good.
If you didn't watch too much of it, this is the perfect place to be, because we're just going to give you it shouldn't take more than 5 or 10 minutes, a quick rundown of all the interesting results, why they're interesting. I've got them all written down here. So should we just start with that? Should we jump straight in? And then we'll come to the final later on. So first round, Jack Lazowski, Zhang Anda, 4-2 Jack Lazowski. Jack Lazowski actually went on to play Judd Trump in the second round, but pulled out because sadly his dad actually passed away. So all best wishes to him. I hope he's well. Next we had Ding Junhui against UC. Ding lost. Si Jiahui lost to Hoisin Vafai, who stepped in. Actually, Hoisin Vafai had a great run if anyone hasn't seen the highlights of the 5-0 Hoisin Vafai versus Judd Trump, it was Judd Trump 5-0. Then we're going to talk about that quite a bit later, because some of the stats around his 5-0 are amazing. They're absolutely amazing. So we had Hoisin Vafai coming in last minute for Renee O'Sullivan and actually winning a few games. Mark Williams lost to Stuart Bingham, and we'll come back to Stuart Bingham as well. Mark Allen lost to Robertson, not Neil Robertson. And Mark Allen is in a real trough, I guess we could call it.
Bit of a grump.
Yeah, he seems very fed up with the game. He's said he hoped he didn't qualify for the Players' Championship coming up in a few weeks. Which is, so basically that's the top 16 in the 1-year ranking system qualify for the Players' Championship. And to spoil his fun, he very much did qualify, so he will be there. We'll talk about who he's got in the first round later. I can't remember. It wasn't great. It wasn't a great draw for him. And then Li Paifan beat Elliot Slesser. Obviously, Li Paifan was probably I think Li Paifan was the lowest ranked player in the world rankings to be in the World Grand Prix. So he's 43rd in the world. Obviously, the winner of the Scottish Open. That's why he's got into that. Then we got Xiao Guodong 4-3 over Jay Jones. That's a close one because they're 16th and 17th in the world, Jack Jones that is. And that is really key in the Crucible race for who was going to actually go through. So Xiao Guodong coming out on better there. Karen Wilson 4-3 over Matt South, the two bad boys of Snooker.
The bad boy matchup.
Yeah, it was a good game actually.
It was. I was able to watch some of that. It was a good game.
Matt South turned 40 this week as well.
Happy birthday, Matt South.
Yeah, but obviously Karen Wilson was due a good run. And then Higgins versus Carter, arguably the pick of the first round. Yeah. 4-3 to Higgins. Good form. Stephen Hendry said, with the form that Higgins is in, could be a real favourite for the Crucible.
I think it's a good shout. I mean, he was pretty... He's in really good form. Like the World Open, very dominant a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. He looks good. He looks fluent again.
He does, yeah.
And once again, he's winning those tight frames where it was like first to 4 and it was 3-3. So that was where he was really. I mentioned this last week, but that's where he's really been struggling over the last year. 4 years. That was his last. But second round wise, Hoisin Vafai winning again against UC, 4-3. Also worth saying, on both of Hoisin Vafai's games, he was the worst of the two players, which is quite interesting actually. He wasn't. I don't think he made a century all tournament. He wasn't in particularly good form. He just has that knack of like battling out frames, and UC actually played quite poorly, and Si Jiahui also played quite poorly. So it was I think he just sort of mumbled his way through that one.
Do you think part of that could be down to him not expecting to be part of the competition?
Definitely. I think there's no pressure on him, is there?
Maybe.
I think... Who else came in? I think it was...
It was Ben Wollaston,
Jimmy Robertson, was it? Oh, yeah.
who lost in the first round. Sean Murphy.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Well, actually, the most interesting game in the second round was probably Barry Hawkins versus Sean Murphy, which was 11th versus 12th in the rankings.
Yes,
So again, another interesting one. Sean Murphy winning that 4-1. Another interesting game. Higgins versus Kyron Wilson, 4-2 to Higgins.
Yeah.
And there's a good little clip of Kyron Wilson sort of waving a white flag. Because, I mean, he was just playing so well. Anyway, they were the most interesting games for the second round. Now, the quarterfinals, I'm going to come back to a game in the quarterfinals.
Mm.
Also, Judd Trump got a bye through the second round.
He did, yes. Yeah.
Stuart Bingham, quarterfinal, beat Mark Selby 5-4.
Mm.
Now, this has been a really good run for Stuart Bingham, and even though we lost in the final, he's actually pushed himself into the top 16 of the one-year rankings now, so he is in the Players' Championship. So actually, even though it was a slightly anticlimactic end to a fairly good week for him, there was still positives to take from it. Anyway, Zhao Guangdong versus Neil Robertson, 19th versus 16th. Neil Robertson being 19th in the world, 5-3 to Neil Robertson. Big game that, because actually, in terms of rankings and the extra money, Neil Robertson needed all he could get.
Yeah.
And then Sean Murphy versus John Higgins. Sean Higgins, what a player that would be, them two together. But 5-3 to Sean Murphy. Now, I want to come back to the 5-0 Judd Trump. Judd Trump beat Hoisin Vafai 5-0, but we will come back to it. Semi-finals was Neil Robertson versus Sean Murphy and Judd Trump versus Stuart Bingham. Now, I had a feeling when I saw that lineup that basically, could you pick any bigger power scorers in the game than those four?
Yeah, I've got to be honest.
Neil Robertson, obviously apart from Ronnie O'Sullivan, in the actual, I think Sean Murphy and Neil Robertson famously is one of the biggest scorers in the game.
Yeah.
But Judd Trump and Stuart Bingham. So then I looked it up. So all of them are in the top 11 of all time of century makers. So Ronnie O'Sullivan's way ahead in 1,200. Judd Trump's 1,066. Neil Robertson's 975 at 4th. Sean Murphy 707 is 7th. And Bingham at 610. I just thought it was quite interesting that this was clearly a tournament that favoured big scorers, heavy scorers. Do you know what I mean? Because, even though Bingham wasn't really heavy, like scoring as much as the other three, Judd Trump especially. But actually, Bingham did come through that semi-final and beat. Judd Trump just did not play very well.
Yeah,
truth.
I've got to be honest. I think both matches went the opposite way to what I was expecting. I think.
100%. I expected Trump versus Murphy in the final.
I was expecting that. I was expecting Trump
and
Murphy
actually,
final.
Robertson versus Bingham, and obviously the final, if you haven't seen, was one of only the fourth ever ranking titles to be a whitewash, 10-0 to Neil Robertson.
Incredible.
And also, it is very much worth saying that it wasn't a 10-0 like, oh my god, it was unplayable. It wasn't that. It was Bingham he had chances and he didn't take them. He has been struggling with self-proclaimed yips.
Yips. That's a word you hear a lot, isn't it? A lot of the professionals
in
talk
all
about
sorts
the
of sports. Yeah, you hear yips a lot. I know Stephen Hendry said he struggles with the yips.
The yips.
I know cricketers that have struggled with the yips. I know there's dartitis in darts that people struggle with and stuff.
It sounds very Australian, I think. Oh, mine, I've got the yips.
I think he's just done well to even get to the final if he really is struggling as much as he says he was. There was a lot of shots where you could see he was going through very quickly. There was no backswing. The technique was a bit sort of all over the place.
Yeah.
And that is completely amplified when you're playing Neil Robertson, because for all my money, it's got the nicest cue action in Snooker. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of the most perfect,
very aesthetically pleasing.
It is. It's just one of the best cue actions you could ask for. So it made Bingham look a little bit worse than he arguably was.
And that teamed up with the yips.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It's a recipe
He missed
disaster.
some really easy balls, like really easy, that I would probably back myself to pot.
Ooh.
Like, I know. That's what I'm saying. There was a red that he missed when he was like 5-0 down, and it was just one of those ones where you're like, like you can only miss that if you're just having a shocker of a day. Like it just wasn't his day. I felt bad for him actually. I genuinely did feel bad for him, but we shouldn't feel bad for him because he still won 80 grand, and he beat who's he beat? He's beat Mark Williams, he's beat Judd Trump, and he's beat Mark Selby. Yeah. They're all in the top 5 in the world.
I mean, I'd quite happily be beat 10-0 on the world stage for 80 grand.
I'll take it.
It's a pretty sweet deal.
Also,
really,
it's an important 80 grand. It really is an important 80 grand. He's got himself into the Players' Championship and probably the Tour Championship. So, actually, no, he's not. He might not be in the Tour Championship because that's top 12. But if he can have another good run in this Players' Championship, which he's actually drew Neil Robertson in the first round.
Yeah.
So, looking unlikely. You can't do much for your confidence. So, yeah, if he does another one, has another good run, never know. He could make his way to the Crucible as a seed.
So
but that's enough about.
I was going to say, just when we talk about these yips, is that something? Do you know much about it? Is it something that
I do? I think
passes,
it's a purely
does it come and
psychological
go,
thing. I think basically the way I've heard it described is it is the fear of missing. You don't want to do something of the fear, especially with darts. It's like. I know Nathan Aspinall in darts is struggling with this a little bit. It's the fear of actually letting go of the dart because if you miss, you're scared of missing. So then you get a little bit hesitant to release. In snooker, I think it's a bit more. The snooker, the technique thing comes into it a little bit. I know people mess with their techniques quite a bit. I think it's like rushed through the shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you're almost scared. I don't know. You'd have to ask Bingham, I guess. There's only one person that can explain what his version of yips are. Yeah, give him a ring. But also, I know there was a guy in a cricket match it was a while ago actually, but that's one of those ones where all of a sudden you just can't bowl in a straight line. It's just, it in your head is impossible all of a sudden to do something that you're like a professional at. And I think it's just a fully mental barrier. I think that's probably one of the hardest things to overcome in sport is when you get in your own head, and they'll battle with that constantly. And I think that might be something that Ronnie's struggling with a little bit. Maybe not necessarily the yips, but definitely I can confidently say he's struggling with the mental side of snooker. Because I was thinking about this the other day. In terms of sports, not many sports must be more mentally draining than snooker. I know that might sound a bit weird to say at the start, but when you actually think about it, you miss a ball. Say football, you do like what's the worst? You score an own goal and they win the game. It's like it's annoying, but there's a team around you. You know, there's a team morale, and they should try and pick you up. And you can go on next week, go back to training.
Well, yeah. Whereas
snooker's quite an isolating sport.
Like
and if you miss and then watch someone clear up from your miss, that's quite mentally difficult to take.
And like you said with football, you lose a ball, you can do something about it. You can go and try and win it back. You miss a pot in snooker, you've got to sit and watch your opponent clear up. There's literally nothing
once
you can
you've made a mistake, you've basically got to go then watch the other person do something that you couldn't, and that is a difficult thing.
It's like you've shot yourself and you've just got to sit in it.
Yeah, you just got to sit.
There's nothing you can do.
And you've got cream pants on, you know?
Yeah.
No one wants that. But I want to talk about the Juddernaut.
I want
to talk about him. I want to talk about Judd Trump.
Isaac, I think it's time you hit me with a stat blast.
Pew pew!
Pew pew!
Stat blast. This is... I've got so many stats about it. If you like stats, this is the place for you. If you like... There's a lot of other sports that go mental on the stats. Cricket... Mainly cricket, actually. But this is the place to go mental on the stats in snooker. I've done my research. And Judd Trump's win over Hossein Vafai, 5-0, is one of the most fascinating games of first to five snooker you will ever hear about. And I'm here to tell you why. So, in the first frame, he hit a 1-4-5. So basically, he took a blue instead of a black, or he took two pinks instead of two blacks. Pretty rare a 1-4-5 actually, but not as rare as something else that he did. He then hit 61, won the frame. He then hit 108, then 116, and then the rarest break in snooker, 146.
Yeah.
That's one off a 147, and there actually has been 212-ish 147s.
I believe There was one at the Crucible last year.
A 146. Obviously, Ronnie famously made a 146 in protest.
Yeah.
To a 147, but there's only been 30 odd 146s. Very rare. Anyway, his average. This is I don't know if I've created this, but I don't think I have. If you divide the frames played by the total points divided by the frames played, you get the average points per frame, right? You know, he averaged 115 points per frame. Just take that in for a second. You step up to the table. You step up to the table, and every time you average 115. Now, I did some research because I thought surely no one has ever got close to that 115 average points per frame. Okay, so I looked up how many people have scored 4 centuries in a first to 5 game. Right, a few people have done it. So we've got Peter Ebdon and Alan McManus both hit 4 centuries in the 1992 European Open in the same game. Then we've got Stephen Hendry in the Malta Cup, did it? And then we've got Tom Ford and Gary Wilson in a qualifier for the 2006 Welsh Open. Now, they all lost a frame. So actually, when you're dividing the amount of points they got by the frames played, it's not divided by 5. It'll be divided... In Stephen Hendry's case, it's like divided by 7 because he lost 2 frames, okay?
Yeah.
So they all lost frames. So they're all in like the 80s and 90s. Then we'll talk about the GOAT. In 2007, in the Northern Ireland Trophy, Ronnie O'Sullivan hit 5 centuries in a first to 5 game. I mean, like, also hit a 147 in there. So he hit 107, 108, 122, 129, and then a 147 to finish. Genuinely, like, off the scale.
Superhuman.
But he lost 2 frames.
Yeah.
So it's not divided by 5. It'll be divided by 7 because he lost 2 frames. Ali Carter actually did get 2 frames. So his average per frame is actually only like 96-ish. So for my money, in a first to 5 game, Judd Trump set the record for the average points per frame, which now stands at 115.2 points per frame, which is nuts.
That's
genuinely
absolutely
nuts.
Bonkers.
So,
Isaac, you're twisting my melon, man.
I'm twisting your melon, man. Honestly, if you like stats, this is honestly the place for you because I'm a big stat guy. Yeah, sorry, I've written it down here. 214 147s there's been, and there's only been 37 146s. Now, back onto Judd Trump. Not only did he do that just like because he's amazing, he did it at the speed of light. 64 minutes that game lasted.
64 minutes.
64
minutes to hit 4 centuries.
Yeah, 4 centuries.
Unreal.
And also win another frame. Hoistin Vafai got 31 points the whole game. 31 points. So then I had a look, because I am a nerd. In all the quarterfinals, what was everyone's average shot time? So it shows you this on like the WST and stuff.
Yeah.
The average shot time. I don't know if you know how quick it was, but Zhao Gudong came in at 31.3 shots.
Yeah.
What time? Shots per time? Shots per... That's how long it took him to take a shot. Hoistin Vafai, obviously playing against Judd Trump, was at 34.9 seconds. So nearly 35 seconds per shot. That's a lot. Mark Selby, 29.5. Stuart Bingham, 25.7. John Higgins, 32. That's a long time. Time per shot.
Judd Trump was absolutely rapid. Huh?
Neil Robertson. We're getting into the quicker players now, right? Yeah. These are the people that flow. Neil Robertson, 24 seconds. Sean Murphy whizzes around the table, 23 seconds. Do you want to know what Judd Trump's average shot time was?
Go on.
16.6 seconds. That is like not taking a second to... That's like Ronnie O'Sullivan sort of 147 speed. But like for like 64, that's basically about 12 minutes per frame for an hour.
We spoke a bit...
And also he made clearances, like mental.
We spoke a bit briefly a couple of minutes ago about the mentality in snooker, but more from a negative perspective, how it impacts you negatively. But that the mindset you must be in just to whiz around the table, clear up frame after frame after frame.
The confidence.
Hit 4 centuries in just over an hour, plus another 50+ break. That's in an average shot time of 16.6 seconds. It's unbelievable. And all the things you have to think about when you get down for a shot, the pot, the position, everything like that, to do that in 16.6 seconds.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
It's serious. Like, it's mental. That's from when you hit the cue ball to when you next hit the cue ball. That takes into account the ball moving, the ball going in the pot, you assessing which shot you're going to take next. Like, Hyacinth Fai on the other side of the table was 34.9.
Yeah.
That's over double. It's over double. Anyway, I just thought those Judd Trump stats were worth the stat attack and pew pew.
That is...
Stat blast. Stat attack? I can't remember which one we said.
I like stat blast.
Stat blast.
But that was incredible. Stat blast. Pew pew.
It was. It was an incredible... I mean, it was just incredible, to be honest. And and it's amazing that... No offence. It's amazing that Stuart Bingham then beat him in that sort of...
Yeah.
I'm not sure if him having a day off because of the bye made a difference or...
Possibly. I don't know.
Possibly.
What were his stats like for the Bingham game? Let's have a look at that. I've got it up here.
I think he did hit a century.
Yeah, he hit 2. Trump hit 2 centuries. Bingham hit 1. But his Trump's shot time in that game was 25.4.
Yeah, but like he was just flowing against Hyacinth Fai. If you just take that game out of context of everything else that was going on, that's one of the best performances anyone's ever put in. Full stop. It was just insane. It was up there in the history books. And speaking just on Judd Trump's centuries, if you get 100 centuries in a season, you get a £100,000 bonus. He is currently on 86 centuries. So he's got the Players' Championship, then the Tour Championship, and then he's got the Crucible.
Yeah.
So he's got 3 tournaments left. Can he score another 14 centuries? You'd think so.
I'd say he's definitely capable of that.
He's looking likely for a deep run in the Crucible. It's been a while.
While we're on the subject of Judd Trump and the Crucible, do you think he's a favourite? I think he's got to be.
He is the favourite. I mean, if he doesn't go into that tournament the favourite, he will. He's the world number 1. Last year,
the most lucrative season in snooker as well, I believe.
Yeah. And also last year, he said he was burnt out. And
he doesn't look it.
I'm worried. I've not mentioned this yet. I'm worried Kyron Wilson might be by the time he gets there.
Yeah.
It's a long old season. And also, Kyron Wilson's been world champion this whole time. That adds a whole other level of stress and press onto it. Judd Trump actually might have benefited from not being the world champion this year. Like, he's actually been a little bit more under the radar. He took the Welsh Open off. He didn't do it. He's taken a few... He's sort of gone the Ronnie route of pick and choose a little bit because I think he's preserving himself for the Crucible. Yeah. Because now's the time to really start rolling up, getting ready. And Judd Trump wins a tournament very frequently, and he hasn't won one in a hot minute. So it's looking likely, guys.
My other point
if I had to put my money somewhere,
I'd put it on Judd.
Do you know who actually has hit 100? Do you know who holds the record for the most centuries in a season? 2013-14.
I mean, the obvious guess has got to be Ronnie.
It's not Ronnie.
Is it not Ronnie? Mark Selby.
No. The answer, screaming at the screen, I imagine, is Neil Robertson.
There you go.
But he is 4th, I think, on the all-time list.
And the other...
4th.
He's
only
brief
25
thing
away from 1,000.
Is Judd Trump. He's won 1 world title.
Yeah.
Undeniably, you can say he absolutely should have won more. How many do you think he could win? Because in my mind, I see him as a 4+ winner.
He should be. Selby, who's a 4-time winner, he's no worse than Selby.
No.
Thing is, Judd Trump, people see him as this flair player. You know, he's got all the shots. But actually, he's got the consistency. his safety game is really right up there. Like, really right up there. He's really good. He's got the temperament. You know, he doesn't seem to get too annoyed by anything. He's quite a good sportsman in terms of, like, he's quite a good loser, so he doesn't hold on to stuff. So actually, I think personally, 3 minimum. I know he said in the past that if he doesn't get a few more, it would be a disappointment. Do you know what I mean?
That's understandable because he's absolutely incredible.
He is. No, he's on his day, absolutely unbelievable. And that was his day. Was yeah. I mean, you can't play against that type of snooker.
No,
you just can't play against that. But yeah, so he's on 86 centuries, and we've got Neil Robertson, the all-time record of 103. The way he's going, that could be smashed. That could be absolutely smashed.
Possibly.
So just back to the last thing on the Grand Prix is
Neil
Sean
Robertson.
Murphy.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
well, let's and then I was going to get on, but yeah, I was going to say Sean Murphy and Neil Robertson. They were really. I posted a video. I'll put the link at the end. For the sort of explaining the snooker rankings.
Yeah.
They have basically, when Neil Robertson made it to the final, he was at least going to be 14th. I think he's pushed himself up to 11th. Yeah, he's 11th now, and Sean Murphy is 10th officially. Now Sean Murphy still has money to drop off his ranking, but I think he'll be all right. I think he'll still stay in the top 16 now. So they should be. That should ticked in the box for seeds for the Crucible. They'd have something really strange from either Gary Wilson or Jack Jones. I don't even know if they're in the. No, I think maybe Stuart Bingham.
No. Yeah.
Or actually, Stuart Bingham and Chris Wakelin are both definitely in the Players Championship. So if they were in the final, maybe those two, maybe Sean Murphy would be a little bit worried. But I think, that would be a strange final. But, hey. Let's move on. Matt Selt turned 40.
Happy birthday to the bad boy.
The bad boy. The bad boy number 2. Who's your bad boy number 1? I know mine.
I think Matt Selt.
Aaron Wilson, man.
I accept your argument, but I struggle to.
For anyone that missed last week's pod, I think Karen Wilson is the bad boy of snooker. Here's why. I think he's got an earring. He wears fancy ass shoes. His waistcoats are a bit funky at times. His walk-on song is like D&B. What were the other reasons? The name Kieran is like a good enough reason to be a bad boy. It's not quite Kieran.
Not quite Kieran.
And of all the snooker players that would suit a nose ring, he would be top of the list.
Yeah.
There's my reasoning on why. Also the haircut. Love it. Absolutely love him. Just a bad boy.
He's a bad boy.
Oh, and there's that photo of... Did you see that photo of him with the huge bottle of vodka?
Yeah.
Yeah,
was
bad
it vodka?
boy.
Yeah.
I think it was like Grey Goose or something. Bad boy. He's my bad boy. Speaking of photos, I was having a little flick. Through, I think it was Facebook or something. And I have seen a photo of the 16 seeds from the Crucible.
Do you want to pop it up on the screen?
I'm going to pop it on the screen.
Yeah.
I'll pop it on the screen. Because for my money, it's one of the most magnificent photos ever taken, okay? So let's just start right at the centre. The reigning champ of that year. Look at Luca Brissell. Look at him. The James Bond of snooker over there. Look at him.
I don't think it's even James Bond. I think it looks more sort of like Crime Boss.
The villain. Yeah, he does.
So
there's some people that should... Some people, let's just get rid of the people that are okay. Ding, absolutely fine. Janganda, absolutely fine. John Higgins, you look respectable. You look absolutely fine. I mean,
Mark Selby makes me laugh in that photo.
What the hell is Mark Selby doing?
Smiling like a little child. It's brilliant.
He's gone black tie. It's just him and Barry Hawkins that have gone black tie.
But
Barry Hawkins has made the fatal error of undoing his top button.
Undone.
He looks like a wedding singer.
I think he looks like a dad who's rushed from work to watch his son play football.
Yeah.
And I think Mark Selby looks like a sort of up and coming headmaster.
Judd Trump looks awkward more than anything else.
Yeah.
Gary Wilson and Ali Carter, free pass out of it.
Yeah, they're all good.
Mark Williams would... Right, here's the case for this one. Mark Williams would look fine if Tom Ford hadn't done copycat behind
Just
him.
the same, yeah.
Because Luca Brissell's got this all-black thing going on.
Yeah.
Mark Williams, that's fine. What... Sean Murphy... I'm not sure. Him and Mark Allen have dressed very similar. Robert Milkins, pink tie.
Robert
what were you
Milkins is screaming. I mean, I just think something about snooker players. I mean, most of them are of a right age, but they all just look like dads.
Yeah, they all
Rob
look
Milkins
like
takes the looking most like a dad award for that photo, I think.
Tom Ford, he gives Judge Trump for the most awkward. Right, and now we'll come to the two that I really do want to talk about the most.
Let's talk about Kyron first.
Yeah, let's talk about Kyron. The only one in a three-piece suit. Nothing says bad boy like a three-piece suit.
All of which, the suit jacket, the tie, and the waistcoat, 3 different colours.
3 different colours. Which, unexplainable. And he he's taller than I thought he was.
And also, if you sort of look at the photo carefully of Kyron Wilson and Tom Ford, and then look down, their legs are sort of perfectly positioned behind other people's, but it looks like they're sort of floating.
Yeah.
They've got no legs.
Who's getting the awards for most interesting in this photo?
Because it's Brissell.
It's Brissell. What the hell was going on? The sunglasses. It looks like the World Championship prize has gone so to his head.
It's a cloudy day in Sheffield.
For me, it's the elbow.
Yeah, that's mine.
It's the elbow.
That's mine.
Also, always nice to see what people are doing with their hands. Like Mark Allen's gone for where all on the left are sort of. That's fine.
All the front are hands clasped at the front, apart from.
Also,
Luke
can
Brissell.
we just have? Yeah, exactly. Can we just have a minute of appreciation for Mark Williams? Is just pulling that off.
Yeah.
He is pulling it off. I have nothing to say about Mark Williams.
No.
I bet Tom Ford got there and went, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Shit.
I can't pull that off.
I can't. I don't look like that. Now,
and of
the
course,
elephant in the room.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
What the fuck is he wearing?
It's so Ronnie though.
I almost didn't notice. That's how Ronnie it is. But it shouldn't be excused.
He's gone for t-shirt and
first
shacket.
off, black t-shirt, black jeans, not like suit pants, jeans, a shacket.
A shacket and trainers.
Like a sort of gingham shacket. Band name, fucking Gingham Shacket.
Gingham
what a band
Shacket.
name. And then to really top it off.
And the trainers.
Trainers.
Do you reckon they're Skechers?
Yeah, hashtag just comfy.
Hashtag just comfy.
He put a tweet on his, X, when he did a tournament and wore Skechers, and he just put a photo of them and put, not a sponsor, just hashtag comfy.
Hashtag comfy.
But for me, the one that really stood out to me was Brissell, Hawkins, and Milkins.
Yeah.
They are the 3 that are like, and how Ronnie's not made that top 3, I don't know. But something's off about it. There's just something. And considering snooker players basically wear a suit for a living.
Yeah.
Why do they all look so strange? That's the bit I can't figure out.
Barry Hawkins sort of looks a bit like an Undertaker who's in a rush.
Yeah, he does. But that's... and also I noticed that John Higgins still has like the press pass on. Which
As
well. Which you can see the woman in the background also has on, and like everyone else has taken theirs off. Yeah. Anyway, that was our analysis of the last year's photo. We should get another one of these bad boys soon.
I'm looking forward to analysing that.
Really looking forward to it. What will Ronnie wear? That's the big question.
We should analyse the photos for each tournament. I think it's a good bit.
Yeah, we should actually. Yeah. That's a nice thought. Well, there was the thumbs up photo, wasn't there?
From the Grand Prix was
from the Hong Kong one. Yeah, that was amazing.
Sean
as well.
Murphy looks
They all
so
had the
excited to be
same
there.
thumb up.
But yet somehow
Look at his little face.
Sean Murphy's thumb up in that photo, it just hit different. He looked so excited. He was just there like,
yeah, he was like, woo,
woo! I'm in Hong Kong, yeah.
Yeah. No. Also, Ding, suave.
Ding.
Real. Look at him sat on the end.
I would like a moment's appreciation for Ding Junhui. I think absolutely fantastic snooker player, consummate professional, and for me up there with Jimmy White as the best player to have not won a world championship.
Yes, very close. Best player to never win one. Yes, defo.
It's
look at him.
Ding and Jimmy.
Both the Chinese players in that, Zhang Gander as well.
Yeah.
Not much to write home about. They're looking fine. They've got the white shirt, black.
I'd say Zhang Gander looks quite curious, like a sort of cheeky chappy over Judd's shoulder.
I can't get over looking myself. It's mental. It's mental. It's the lean.
It's the leaning.
It's like the lean says, that's mine.
That's
Do you know what I
mine,
mean?
yeah.
Like, hands off.
Yeah.
Hands off. It's so strange.
It's brilliant.
Oh my god.
You can't look at that photo and tell me Brissell isn't a bad boy.
You can't. I won't. But also, the bad boys I meant mentioned, Karen Wilson also looks like a bad boy in that photo. He's the only one with a light suit on, like lighter than the other two.
Sean Murphy's is quite light, but under no circumstances would I ever consider Sean Murphy a bad boy.
No, he's the good boy of snooker.
He's a very good boy.
He is a good. Look how he sat. The posture screams good boy.
Oh, it's impeccable.
Yeah,
it's almost a bit teacher's pet, isn't it? Like,
it is.
I bet it looks like he sat there, sort of smiling at the photographer, going, "I'm sat up nicely."
Yeah. Also, the thing that I absolutely love is somehow, even in a static photo, Luca Purcell looks like he's in a rush. Like, he looks like he's like pissed off. He's like, "Fucking, let's get this done with. Just gonna sit down for." I bet he was the last to sit down, first to stand up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, that is enough of that. But yeah, we'll keep you updated on when the next. Yeah, lovely. I just saw that photo and I was just like, what the hell's going on? But let's move on to some news from the week.
Yes,
we didn't mention Mark Allen too much. So I don't want to kick him on while he's down. Here's the quote from Mark Allen after going out to Robertson, not Neil Robertson. "If I could find a safety game, a few long pots, and cut out the easy losses, I'd maybe win a game or two. The confidence is on the floor. I hope I don't qualify for the Players' Championship. Roll on next season." Now, first off, he has qualified for the Players' Championship.
Yeah.
So, I guess...
Sorry, Mark.
Congrats. Yeah, sorry you earned so much money, yeah. But tough to read, tough to take from Mark Allen. It's not been a good... It's not been a good year, but he's also still in the top 16 earners of the year. So, it has been a fairly good year, Mark. I imagine it must be very frustrating.
Yeah. Sort of
he's not playing well.
If you know you're not playing
right
well,
now, he isn't playing well.
You feel like you can't really do much about it. Then it must be really frustrating. But at the same time, you're earning a nice paycheck, aren't you?
It's more than that, snooker, though, isn't it?
It is more than that, yeah. And it's I've been reading quite a bit recently about sort of the players outside the top 16, their pay packet. Matt Selt spoke about it on Stephen Hendry's YouTube channel. Yeah. So as a player who's outside the top 16, I think in terms of qualification money for tournaments and whatnot, he's only guaranteed about 50 grand a year, which when you're top 40, 50 or whatever in the world at your sport, it's not a lot, is it?
No, it's not.
You know, he's not consistently qualifying for the World Championships or Triple Crown tournaments, but he's an excellent sportsman.
Yeah. No, he is. And that is the tough thing. And also, there's no consistency with it, like especially if you are having to qualify for everything. Say you are Matt Selt, and you are outside the top 32. If you are having to qualify for stuff, if you haven't qualified for that, and your next tournament's not till 3 months, and you've just not got into qualifying for something coming up, that's no paycheck for 3 months.
No, I mean that's
stressful. No matter how much your paycheck is, that is still stressful. Like,
I think
not knowing where you're. one, not knowing where the money's coming from, and two, not knowing how much it's going to be when you get there. That's unsettling, at least.
I understand why players like that complain about it and stuff, but
yeah, and 100%.
Also, it's more money than I'm probably ever going to earn in a year.
Yeah.
You know, he's not on the bread line.
No, he's not. But also, I do understand the complaints about it.
Yeah,
like,
no,
it's quite a strenuous job. I mean, nothing on like working in the NHS or anything like that, but it's still like you're still a sportsman, and it's still compared to what Steve Davis earned in the 80s was on par with what golfers were earning for like winning.
Yeah.
And now, so what's the equivalent to the World Championships in golf? I'm not really into my golf.
I'd have thought it'd be like the World
US
Open,
or
the US Open.
Yeah, let's go US Open. I don't know the exact fees, but I know it's in the millions, and it was on a par with what snooker was in the 80s. And now, snooker's 500 grand for winning the World Championships. And we're not talking about the actual prize money. It's how that filters down, and it's how who gets their piece of what pie. And also, that is part of the problem with the Crucible, is because it only sits 900. Should it move to somewhere that can sit 2,000, and that means the prize money can increase? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. We should have a chat about that another time.
Actually, the golf chat, the golf comparison brings us on something nice of it that you mentioned to me midweek, which was a Ryder Cup of snooker.
I had an idea over coffee. All my ideas come.
I think is a great idea, but it's almost like you look at snooker and they are trying to make it more exciting spectator-wise. You've got the snooker shootout. It's a big thing. I don't think that should be a ranking tournament, but no, it is at the moment.
Hey ho!
But a Ryder Cup of snooker would be absolutely massive.
It would, and the reason it would be massive is because any opportunity that the WST can take to get China involved in stuff more, they should take. Because clearly that is your ticket to more money. Like, genuinely, that is clearly where the money's coming from. And in a Ryder Cup, I don't think it would work. Obviously, it's not going to be Europe versus, like, US. That won't work. But what I mean by that is UK versus rest of the world.
Yeah.
Or, to make it slightly more interesting, England versus the rest of the world. Because actually, I don't know how that would, like, take someone like Mark Allen or Mark Williams, who are Welsh and like Northern Irish, or John Higgins, who's Scottish. Should it just be the UK, or should we just take the top 4 English players and the top 4 rest of the world players, or should we take the top 4 UK players, which would be Trump? I don't have the world records. Well, Trump, Wilson, Selby, O'Sullivan. Whether O'Sullivan would do it or not, and then Williams if not. And then the 4, which would be like Neil Robertson, Ding, like Sijoui, like it would be really interesting on like the Luca Brissell obviously would be in that. It would be good, I think. I think it would be a good step forward into sort of getting something a bit more interest into snooker, because actually my biggest problem, and it isn't the snooker, like when I'm actually watching a snooker game, the context of the snooker game alone is fine, but the bigger context is sometimes a bit iffy. Like, I just find a lot of tournaments quite the same. They're quite samey. The World Championship, the Masters, the UK Open have their own thing. Sure, they're the Triple Crown events. But
I'm surprised that
everything else, they're a bit the same, you know?
I'm a bit surprised there's not been like a sort of almost specialist venue being built for tournaments over here, definitely. Because you've got is it the tournament championships or whatever it is? The Tour Championship. Is that held in Telford, or is that Players Championship?
Yeah, well, Telford. Yeah, Players Championship's Telford, and then I think the Tour Championship's Manchester.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think there's work to be done, and the WST does a great job, and a lot of the focus is over on China and Hong Kong, and I get that because that's
Middle East now
always
as well.
a following over there. Yeah, exactly. Saudi Arabia, and
the Golden Ball.
That is, I mean, £1 million. There you go.
Yeah.
That's the only place in the world right now where there is £1 million on it. Speaking of prize money, the £150,000 for Players Championship and the Tour Championship. That's quite good.
It's pretty tidy.
They've increased the pot money for that actually in the last few years. There is efforts from the WST, but snooker is not one of the richest sports in the world, and it has to fight to make its money, sort of thing.
Yeah.
On to a completely different subject. Jimmy White won a Pro-Am in London this last week, beating Peter Devlin. We'll actually come on to something he said as well. He beat him 4-1, and these were his breaks: 112, 80, 76, and 147. He's still got it.
He's still got it.
Still life in the old.
He qualified for the.
There's actually footage of that.
He qualified for the UK Championships a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So he's still knocking about.
Oh no, he's still got it. I mean, he said recently on Q-Tips that if he doesn't win anything in the next 3 years, he'll sort of pack it in. But that means there's still ambition to actually go and win stuff, and he's still in all the qualifying. He'll be playing in qualifying. Also, talking of qualifying, do you know who the unlucky person was with Neil Robertson going up into the top 16? Someone that definitely will have to qualify now for the Crucible. Ali Carter.
Yeah.
That's a blow. That's a real blow, because he's had a fairly good season. He's been good. He's been consistent. He's been knocked out of the Players' Championship, I think, and also been knocked out of the World Top 16. So a little bit of work to do for Ali Carter there, which is, I feel bad for the guy. I do.
I'd be surprised if he didn't qualify, though. I'll say that.
Oh, me too. He's class. He's a class act. But he does lose some weird games sometimes. Maybe if he doesn't get himself... He lost in an early round in the German Open or Masters. I'm not very good with the names of snooker tournaments. This is my point.
German Masters.
Going back to the Ryder Cup thing. Because they are all quite similar.
Yeah.
Apart from the venue at the German Masters is mental, and I really enjoyed that. But he said that there's 3 Chinese players coming through who could be the new Mark Williams, John Higgins, and Ronnie O'Sullivan, as in the class of 92.
Yeah.
Those players he named were Si Jiawei, Wu Yize, and Zhao Jintong. And they are all very, very good. Whether they are the 3 that are going to sort of replace those 3, it's hard to say.
Time will tell, I guess.
I can totally see a world where in 10 years' time, the top 16 is 50% Chinese.
Yeah.
100%. Because the talent coming through is insane.
Well,
and
I think again,
the UK is not that great.
I think that's a failure of how snooker's sort of developed amongst young people in the UK. Not many young people, like obviously young players,
and that is
Stan Moody, etc. But
we've spoken. There's been a few posts about it, but that is kind of the point of this channel. I mean, we are, full disclosure, in our early 20s, and we both love snooker. Why that is, I think it's very much something that I've sort of... It was never pushed upon me to go and love snooker. No. It was just something I sort of fell in love with.
I never played until a couple of years ago, but I've just always enjoyed watching it because there wasn't really anywhere to play it.
I play snooker quite a bit. I went and played... I had a game last night, but it's one of those... It's not particularly easily accessible.
Well, actually, exciting development. I'm playing tomorrow, so...
Oh, lovely.
I will update on the pod next week as to whether
please let me know if that high improves.
Whether I can improve on my best break of 9.
9. Woohoo! My best break is 21.
It's better than 9.
Better than 9. Still not great. 21 though. There's some good attributes in a break of 21. Yeah. There's not much. You can't fluke a 21. They weren't all over the pocket. And it wasn't a lineup. It was in an actual match. Shall we move on to some snooker biographies?
Yes, let's do it. So Isaac had the great idea of finding out the names of some snooker players' autobiographies after we had a brief chat about it last week.
Yeah, on the last pod we chatted about both of us have a real love for sportsmen's biographies, okay?
Yeah.
Because they usually link into the sport. So, for example, Jimmy Anderson's, the cricketer, obviously, his biography is Finding the Edge. Great. Fantastic. Well, and we mentioned the snooker players, which you did actually get the name of wrong. But how do you want to do it? Should I name the snooker player and then we'll have a guess at some? Or do you think I should name the book and then you guess the snooker player?
How easy do you think it would be to guess the snooker player from? Or are they pretty
Not
general?
that hard. Not that hard.
I
don't think so. Should we try it?
Let's have a go at guessing the player's name.
First
Guess
one.
the player.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me and the table.
That's Stephen Hendry, isn't it?
That's Stephen Hendry.
What did I say it was last week? Like my table, my game.
My game or something meant. Not far off. Me and the table.
Me and the table.
Okay. Unbreakable.
That's Ronnie. That's Ronnie.
Yeah, that's Ronnie.
Yeah.
Also, another Ronnie one. Boring. Running.
Oh, is that just about his love of running?
Yeah, just running. That could have been run inside.
Actually.
That could have been run inside, Ronnie. That
It could have been run inside. I might read that running one and report back to you about that.
Right. From the Eye of the Hurricane.
Alex Higgins.
Alex Higgins. Correct. Let's move on to this one's particularly good. There's one that is outstanding, and it's so. I mean, oh my god, it's so good. But we're gonna leave it till last. Life in the Frame, my story.
Life in the Frame, my story.
You'll never guess this.
Steve Davis.
No, that's Ken Doherty.
Ken Doherty.
Life in the Frame, my story. Now, behind the white ball.
The white ball. That's a really shit one.
Yeah, it's so bad. Also, doesn't give anything away about
behind the white ball. I'm gonna guess. I think that's a fairly standard one. I don't know, a player like. I'm gonna guess Sean Murphy.
No, but that would so be a Sean Murphy ball.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's Jimmy White.
That's Jimmy. Well, that makes a bit more sense, given it's Jimmy White, isn't it?
Behind the white ball, yeah. Oh, actually, didn't even click in my head.
Didn't, yeah, no, it.
Because there's another one by Jimmy White called Second Wind.
Second Wind.
So good. Like, so good. Right, we're moving. Second Wind. Right, we're moving on. Frame of Mind.
Go on. Frame of Mind.
You'll never... Again, another random one.
So, it almost seems like a Ronnie thing with the mentality thing.
No, it's not. That's Graham Dott. Graham Dott. Graham Dott, the former
Graham
world champion.
Dott's written an autobiography.
Like, it's got to be one of the worst sellers on the list.
I was going to say that's... No offence to Graham Dott, but I don't think it screams charity shop, doesn't it?
It screams... Oh, yeah, I found this in the Chaz. Right. Between Frames.
Between Frames. Another shit one.
I like how you just rated them immediately. Another shit one. You never get this either.
I'll say John Parrott. No,
not Ted Lowe. Not a million miles off. Right. Interesting.
Is that the name of? Oh, it's Steve Davis, then, isn't it? Yeah.
And I've left that till last because the next book is I'm excited to say it. That's how good it is.
Go on.
This is the epitome. This is exactly why I did it, because this is what I was on about when I was talking about like funny little quips that relate to the person and the sport. Okay? This is Steve Davis's autobiography called Frame and Fortune. Genius.
It's
genius.
Absolutely excellent.
It's absolutely excellent. It is excellent. When I saw that, I was just like, I've got to write these down. So my top three are definitely Frame and Fortune, Behind the White Ball, and Something About Me and the Table by Stephen Hendry just feels right.
You missed another Ronnie one, which is called Framed.
Framed. That's shit, though. Do you know what I mean? There's so many good Ronnie ones that there could have been.
Yeah.
But hey ho.
I'm really. I'm googling them now. This is amazing.
Yeah, no, they are
I
fun.
googled snooker autobiography books on Amazon. The first one that pops up is, right, see if you can get this one. It's called Never, the Autobiography.
Never.
So I typed in snooker autobiography books, and the first one comes up is Never, the Autobiography.
Never, the Autobiography. I don't know if I'm getting that. Let me have a think. 1 sec.
Okay. Never, the Autobiography. Oh,
does it have any relation
for you as well?
Any relation to the snooker player? Should I be getting that?
I'd be surprised if it did. Given that Never, the Autobiography, is by Rick Astley.
Yeah,
but
famously.
I scroll down 2 more, and there's a book by Matt Bozeit.
Right.
And I think we should definitely do a sort of Cueless book club episode where we read this book, because going by the first 2 episodes, Snooker's Bad Boys, the feuds, fistfights, and fixes. Yeah.
No. Shit. They should have fucking quoted us on that.
Yeah.
Well, I bet it's not Karen Wilson, and he is the bad boy of snooker. Maybe Luca Brissell does give him a run for his money.
It seems,
Luca Brissell flew home
more sort of
between
retro.
matches.
There's Ronnie, Alex Higgins, and Jimmy White on the cover.
Sure, they were bad boys in a different way. I'm not talking about, like, drugs, sex, and alcohol. I'm talking about.
You're not talking about naughty boys. You're talking
No,
about
I'm not.
bad
I'm talking
boys.
about bad boys. Bad boys are well behaved. That's a fact.
What about this one? Say Goodnight, JV.
John Virgo.
John Virgo. Say Goodnight.
Very nice. That should come on. Or like that should definitely be called something like where the cue ball went, or something like, you know what I mean, like
right on cue.
Right on cue.
No, that's John Parrott.
John Parrott. Oh, that's actually a thing.
Yeah, yeah. I
oh
mean,
my god!
Surely it's got to be called like parroting on or something. Or like I don't know,
but
the parrot on my shoulder.
None of them are Frame and Fortune, guys. Frame and Fortune.
Yeah.
By Steve Davis. Whoever came up with that name is a genius.
It's superb.
I think we should leave it there. I think that's us for this week.
That is a very good way to finish, I think.
Yeah, Frame and Fortune. Go and find it. Steve Davis. I mean, that's a great advertisement for all 9 of those books as well, if you were looking for a snooker book to read. I'm actually reading a snooker book at the moment called Deep Pockets. It's very good.
Yeah,
it's about the sort of mentality of snooker, and it talks about how snooker is a lifestyle. I'll pop a photo of it on the screen. It's very good. Do recommend.
Oh, yeah. Before we finish, because by the time we record our next episode, the Players' Championship will have started.
Right, of course.
Let's have a prediction.
Prediction. Give me some of the fixtures.
So, our first round fixtures are Judd Trump against Lee Paifan.
I think Judd Trump will win that.
Barry Hawkins versus Sean Murphy.
Oh, that's a replay.
It is.
And Sean Murphy's just won that, so I'm going to back him again.
Zhao Gudong against Wu Yi's.
Wu Yi's.
John Higgins versus Chris Wakelin.
You'd think Higgins, in the form he's in, would come through
so.
that. But that's what I was saying. If Chris Wakelin has a good run, then some of the top 16 players could shit themselves, basically.
We've got then Neil Robertson, Stuart Bingham. I think you've got to back Neil Robertson again.
Yeah,
especially
I mean, just purely
Stuart
based on
Bingham
mentality going
struggling
into that.
with the yips.
Struggling with the yips.
Mark Selby against Si Wei.
Yeah, close one that. I don't know. Si Wei on his day, probably. I'll go Selby, but I think that's the closest yet, I think.
Mark Williams against Ding.
Fuck me, what a first round.
I'm going to back Ding. I'd like to see Ding do well. But
yeah, I think Ding probably needs it slightly more. Mark Williams is one of those people that just rocks up. Who knows what snooker he could play. We have Kyron Wilson against Mark Allen. And I think I'd be shocked if Kyron Wilson didn't win that after. You know, that's it though, isn't it? Life just gets you down. He said, "I'm down. I'd rather not be in it," and he gets fucking Kyron Wilson in the first round. Kick a man while he's down. Sorry
who's
for my
your
language.
prediction for overall tournament winner then? Let's do that.
Overall tournament winner. Oh, the first one that came to mind, genuinely, I think Ding's due something.
Ding? You think Ding?
Ding or... This is bold. I kind of hope Trump doesn't win because I think he needs to save it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think he'd almost be better off if he hadn't won going into the World Champs.
You say
I think Ding
or
Trump.
I'm going to say... I was tempted to say Ding as well, I'm not going to lie, but I'm going to say that... I'm going to say John Higgins is going to find something again.
Nice. Also, I think Sean Murphy has a lot riding on it as well because he's got 125 grand dropping off his ranking at the start of this tournament, so he could do with a good run. So again, I wouldn't put it past him either. But yeah,
I think that brings us nicely to the end.
Yeah, it does. So next week we will obviously be talking about the the Players' Championship. And possibly we might be a little bit clearer on what's going on with the Crucible as well. So we might do a little bit of a prediction. Possibly, yeah. As soon as we know what's going on with the Crucible, we will be doing a full prediction video, and we'll really get, especially if you've got tickets for like the third round, we'll let you know who you might be seeing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's
going to be a very professional affair.
Very, very professional.
And on that
might
note,
even try and get some graphics going for it.
Oh.
And on that note, thank you so much.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for listening. If you did enjoy it, please give us a subscribe. It does help us out.
Leave comments.
Leave a comment, yeah.
And send us your emails to
What should they comment?
Frame and Fortune.
Frame and Fortune, yeah. Frame and Fortune. Comment Frame and Fortune if you got to this point. And
send us an email.
Yeah, send us your emails with anything snooker related, any questions, any funny stories. cuelesspod@gmail.com. Simple.
Lovely. See you next week.
Simple. Yeah, see you next week. Goodbye.